All right, guys, we're back for round, what are we in? 2020's review for Supercoach 2023. Not honestly all that bad a week. Like, it was three bad scores, I think, something like that, which brought the team down, but honestly, it was an all right week. 2800 rank, still not amazing, but it's what happens when you just magically forget how to trade mid season. 2651, like I said, not too bad. We'll get into it, but there really was like only two to three bad scores. The rest were kind of low, but it was like, a low game, but a fine game. Like Dacos, for instance, right? Dacos 82 is not a huge score, but every single person and their mum has Nick Dacos in their team, so it's all right. A lot of people also had him vice captain, so that really does help out. Stewart was all right. I don't understand what the hell happened with Geelong this weekend. The Frio at GMHBA curse for Geelong, and then like I don't know, miracle for Frio. They keep winning there, and all the interstate teams keep winning at GMHBA. Makes you think something's happened to Geelong. Like I don't know what it is, but they've lost that kind of character that helps them win at home. Jordan Dawson was pretty solid, I'd say. The showdown started off slow, in my eyes, but yeah, he picked it up. He always does. The showdown games are pretty big for him. Led went off as well, but like Adelaide really take those games seriously. I'd say they take them more seriously than Port do. 20. Um, yeah. Then Bailey Dale, finally. I feel like this is the first game I've had him in for where it really felt like this was last year Bailey Dale. He was everywhere. He was actually being the kick to set up the offense, taking, he was getting his kick to kick in the backfield, obviously. He also had a goal, which I thought was pretty crazy. But yeah, this was the first time in like oh boy, like going on 8 rounds of owned, that he's actually played like the version of Bailey Dale I wanted. Then we had Himmelberg, which, God, this is such a bad pick. This is one of the bad scores of the week. So, in terms of bad scores, it's Himmelberg, it's Mills, and it's like Keys. Yeah, Himmelberg is just the efficiency is really beginning to be a problem. Last week it was all right. Didn't have his 500 clangers per game. This one, with 5 to 7 to 8 seconds left, he just bombs it out on the full. It's like, well, it's a close game. Of course they're gonna take away I think they took away like 8 points or something like that. It's like, oh, come on, man. It's to the point of GWS really shouldn't play him in the back line. He shouldn't be their kick-in taker. But they want to keep him, and it's contract year, and obviously there's going to be a lot of Vic teams that are like in the race for him, so they're going to try to impress him any way possible, even if that means, I mean, they're winning games, don't get me wrong, but like, there's probably better options they have than current form Himmelberg. Then Will Day, so he was on, ended up looping the English score. Will Day was really good this week, I thought. He's really bounced back. He's, at least for this week, was playing Sicily's actual role. So it's like extra man behind the ball. You get up, take intercepts, and if you don't get it, then we're going to chip it to you anyway, because we want you to have it to set up the attack. Really good from him. Collingwood this week, don't expect the same. Honestly, expect a pretty low score from him. I'm expecting like one of these, like between 60 and 80 from him. If you've got a 23rd premium in defense, I think this is the week you really want to look at looping him. Now, give me a second. I'm going to go get some water because this is all messed up. All right, let's see if we can get through it this time. Where were we? Day done. Bont was good. Pretty low, though, to be completely honest. A lot of people would kind of vying for him VC or C if you went Dacos. and I mean, it's a big game that usually Bont does show up for, the GWS game. It's one of the Dogs' bigger rivalry games. Um, but yeah, it did end up being him. It was, yeah, so you flipped the coin, it was a 50-50, it was English. It just so happened to be that way. This could have easily been swapped, Bont with the 160, like it's possible. Dunkley with no Ashcroft looked a bit better. I don't know how Brisbane lost this one. The whole first, what is it, 6 games? Just insanity. Like, um, the lowest seed won all of these. So Carlton were lower than Collingwood, Freo were lower than Geelong, GWS were lower than the Dogs, Gold Coast were way lower than Brisbane. Brisbane were or still are, I'm not too sure, a top 4 team, and they just got smashed. Sydney at the point were lower than Essendon. Now I think they're above them. And then Adelaide were lower than second place team Port. So first lost, second lost, and I think they were third. It was either them or Melbourne. First, second, and third lost. Just doesn't make any sense. Whatever. Laird already said like he shows up for these showdown games, so you kind of expected it from him. Petrarca was huge, so this I kind of saw this going in. It's just one of those. I think with the forward time he's playing, it's not a safe captain. But damn near 30 touches. Goal. If he was kicking more accurately, this was like a 160. Yeah, he's just huge at this point of the year. Like, the last couple of scores, I mean, some make no sense. Like, I don't understand. I think it was these two. Let's bring up the stats. One of them he had, 4 goals for 113, no goals, same touches, same basically everything across the board for higher 119. It doesn't make any sense, right? Like this, it doesn't make sense, to be honest. I wish they would show their scaling and how they're given points out, but they don't. So, Merit 139. Essendon have just came apart completely. So, I mean, Merit's keeping it up. Players are still playing to their level. It's just from a game plan perspective, it's all falling apart. I don't know what they're going to do with the Parish free agency contract expiring type of deal. I hope he doesn't go to Geelong. As someone who doesn't like Geelong, I'm hoping he doesn't go there. But if he does, it should open up like Nick Martin coming into the midfield. I think they're experimenting with like Archie Perkins or something in the midfield or whoever it was. There are options there because I think that this rotation they've got of Merritt, Parish, Shield, Stringer, Martin, like they've got like 6 or 8 people that just kind of rotate through. It's very like Collingwood, but with way worse players. So Collingwood have the same thing, and they would go like 8, 9 deep in the midfield. But all of them are like all Australian level players. You got Tom Mitchell. You got like Tom Mitchell's like 4th, and he's an All Australian Brownlow winner. Pendles is in there. You got like there's a huge difference, but I feel like they're trying for the same thing. It's just not working. I think they've got to kind of like revamp their midfield. They looked a lot better with Nick Martin in the midfield anyway. So I think that means Essendon, from a team perspective, should make a decision on Parish, whether he stays or goes, rather than Parish making the decision. Brayshaw 137. That was, again, I'll say it again. I don't know how Freo won this one. I mean, Brayshaw played out of his mind, which he does typically do against these like higher teams. He plays better in Freo wins, and then Luke Ryan is a lot better in Freo losses. So if you've got the two of them, then you've probably got one good score each week and then one bad score each week. Neil was down, but again, this is probably why they lost the game to the Suns, of all people. Yeah, I mean, it's all right. I reckon what's his ownership looking like? Did I miss it? Ownership. Did I miss it? 43%. I guess that's all like the relevant teams anyway. Probably not people that started him. It's just people that have him now. And then this fraud, absolute worst final trade of all time. I want to go back and see who was available, but I'm pretty sure Steele was available. So this is just absolutely terrible, terrible. Mills is just not playing any position. He's not a midfielder, he's not a defender, he's not a forward, he's not a wing. He's just out there, and Horse says, all right, go there, and now go there, and now go there. It's terrible. It's at the point where I don't even know why he's getting consideration in the midfield, because he's just not playing up to it. I'd rather put like current form Heaney or something like that in the midfield, or Papley. Mills is just playing terrible, like really, really bad. That this week, let's see if I can loop, because if I can, I'm probably going to loop with Chincotta. What do we got? Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, if MJ doesn't play. Oh, actually, no, I have Harry Sharp. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to be looping this because I don't know if Mills is going to score. I mean, this is what the Battle of the Bridge, which is what they call it. So, I mean, hopefully he shows up, but I will be looping this because Mills is just terrible. I'd rather take a 60 than a 50. The rucks were good. I thought Marshall was going to go massive because he was dominating like the first half, but then what's his name came up and he had like 39 hitouts, something like that when I last looked at the game. I think it was Meek. And English, I mean, he was just everywhere. He played as a forward, as a defender. He was the good version of Mills. Maybe because he's 200 centimeters, it makes it a bit easier to do. Winning all the hitouts, he was even getting his own clearances and stuff like that. He's the number one player in Supercoach at the moment. Yeah, great game. I almost took the VC off of him and then just like decided to close the app and don't look at it. And yeah, it worked out. Goulden was massive. His last couple of games have been insane. So 142, he's got a 143 in there, and he's got a 164 against West Coast. But up the West Coast. Hold on a second. I should have done this at the start. There we go. Aren't we all feeling a bit better now? So the Eagles won. Up the Eagles. Fly Eagles fly. Granted, that's the Philly version, but yeah, as I was saying, Goulden was pretty massive. Rosie and Butters I thought were really good as well in the showdown, but it just, it's how it goes. Like, one gets a huge score, the other doesn't. I thought, it's crazy because I thought last week Butters was way better. This week I feel like it was Rosie. I'm guessing he just had less stats overall. 15-11. What did Butters have? Yeah, I guess Butters did have the better stats. I don't know, watching the game, I felt Rosie did more with it. Is what it is, though. It's all good. Cornelio was good. This is another game that he really picks it up. It's kind of low, actually, for him. I feel like he was, like, dominating clearances, wasn't he? We don't show clearances on here. 9 tackles. I mean, yeah, it's probably better than a 122, to be honest. Did he have a goal? No, he didn't. That's probably what it was. Yeah, Butters spoke about. Taranto, down game. His run of form recently has really dropped off. Yeah, like, of his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, he's only got 1 ton in there. He's probably going to bring it back around. Like, Dogs game's pretty big for him. If they lose that, they're basically out of the 8. Like, they don't have a shot anymore. Saints is a big game for him. North should be an easy kill for him. And then Port final week. If they're in the finals, then, just go at Port to show people that you're a chance to win it. And if you're not, then just... why wouldn't you just try hard the game? Port are probably going to rest people that week. So it's probably worth Richmond just kind of go balls to the wall on that one. And then Keys, so he's lost the midfield role. It's gone. Matt Crouch comes in and is playing insane. What is Matt Crouch on? Yeah, like, he's back to the good Matt Crouch. So 144, handball merchant, he's back, right? Like, it's not good for Keys here. It's going to take a couple of goals now to keep his score from being this bad, right? Like, it could get to the point where I'm looping him with Marek. I hope it never hits that, but I mean, now he's under 20 touches a game. So, yeah, not great. Not great at all. But yeah, that's basically it for the team. Given it's round 20, there's no trades or anything to make. Was there any big injuries over the weekend? None that hit the top of my head. I mean, nothing that's Supercoach relevant. Like there was the Blitzarv stuff and Hawkins, but none of that's relevant. But yeah, I think that's about it for this week. Yesterday it came out Buddy retired, so props to him. He's one of the best players I've ever seen play. Absolutely shattered. I could have been there for the 1,000 goals if he didn't kick it against Geelong and it went to the Dogs game, because I was for sure going to that Dogs Sydney game. Yeah, so props to Buddy. Yeah, I'll see you all next week. Tasty out. Up the Eagles.